Hey guys, I'm going to show you guys how to make a baseball waiver claim. This is more importantly for RTFBC and high stake leagues as they need to have an extra 2 players on their roster after their draft, but this applies for all leagues on how to make waiver claims and how your waivers will process. So in RTFBC and high stake leagues, you guys drafted 2 less players than allowed on your roster. So that means you can have 2 free waiver wires where you don't have to drop any players. And I'm going to show you guys how to set that up the right way and kind of explain how to set that up. So right now we're sitting at 28 players in RTFBC, and we can go up to 30. So we can add 2 more players without having to drop someone. So let's say we want to add a pitcher. We can go ahead and sort by pitcher. And we're going to get all of our free agent pitchers, and we're going to go ahead and put in a bid for Michael Kopech. And then we got a $1,000 budget. We're going to go ahead and type in a 20 for him. We do not have to select anyone to be dropped because we are still under the limit even with Kopech added on our roster. So we're going to go ahead and save that. It's going to give you this warning: you did not provide any player to drop for this group. That is fine because we are still under the limit. So we got our first bid group. We're going to go ahead and make a second one. And we're going to go ahead and select an outfielder for this one. You can also sort by what you kind of need for your roster. You can sort by home run. So if you need a home run hitter, you can go out here and go ahead and get a 16 home run hitter from last season. Add a little power to your lineup. So we're going to go ahead and put a bid for him. We do not have to select a drop again for this group because this is our second bid and we're still under the limit even if we get him. So we're going to go ahead and save that. We're still going to get that warning: you did not provide any player to be dropped for that group. That is perfectly fine. That's what we want because we are still under the limit because we needed 2 players to be added to our roster without having to drop anyone. Now, if you want another player to be added to your group, you're going to have to go ahead and go make a claim again. But right now we're sitting at 30 players if we get those players. So if we want a catcher, we can go ahead and add Danny Jansen to our waiver claims. Put a bid in for 5. Now we have to have someone be dropped in this group because our first 2 groups, no one is going to be dropped. So what the system does is it's going to pick up those players and it's going to look at your roster and it's going to say, is the roster full with this player? If so, then it's going to drop them. If it's not, then it's not going to drop that player. So if you even put in a player to be dropped, it is not going to drop them unless your roster is full. So we're going to go ahead and put Corbin Burns to be dropped. So right now this is kind of set up. This bid group is going to be first because it's the highest dollar amount, then followed by Duvall, then by Jansen. So if I change like this to 23, this would be my first bid group. So I would have to switch the player to be dropped to my 3rd claim group. The claim group goes by the order of your bid number. So whatever bid number is the highest, that's the most important bid group, and it's going to process first. So since this is the 3rd bid group at $5, this will be processed last, which is why I have my drop under this claim group. You can also add contingency drops. I'm going to go ahead and show you that by editing it. A contingency is kind of just like a backup bid for your claim group in case you don't get that player, but you still want it to be under your catchers. So I can go ahead and add in Gomes. We're going to go ahead and put in a 3 for him. And Joey Bart. We're going to go ahead and put a 2 for him. So you can name your bid group catchers if you want. So this is my catcher bid group. We got a 5, 3, and 2. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to look under just this bid group. If I don't get Danny Jansen for $5, then it's going to go down here and look at Ian Gomes for $3 and then Joey Bart. You can slide these up and down and move them around for your claim groups. You can also bypass your primary bid and use contingency bid first if necessary. So this is if like Ian Gomes, let's go ahead and put him at a 10. It's going to bypass Danny Jansen first as our primary, and it's going to go straight to Ian Gomes because he's the most expensive player on our bid group. So if this is checked, it's going to go straight to Ian Gomes first. If this is not checked, even though Danny Jansen is only $5 compared to the $10, it's going to go and look at Danny Jansen first. So this will be my first player that can be claimed, followed by Ian Gomes. But if this is checked, it's going to come to him first, then it'll go up to Danny Jansen, and then Joey Bart. So we're going to go ahead and save that. We still have our 1 player drop for this group. You can only get 1 player per claim group. So I could not get all three of these players even if I had other drops right here. You can only get one player per claim group. So I got my first claim group, no drop, no drop. Then we got a catcher claim group with Danny Jansen, and we're going to be using contingency bid first if necessary. So it's going to look at Ian Gums first, followed by Danny Jansen, then Joey Bart, with the drop of Corbin Burns. So that's kind of how you make your claim groups. Remember, your first two claim groups, don't have anybody be dropped on your claim groups. You always want your drop to be on your third if you have two roster spots open. If you don't have any roster spots open, then you want drops in all of these. But it will not. The system will not drop the player if it is there, because the system is going to look at your team and it's going to say the roster is not full. Even with the player added, you don't need to drop the player. So a common mistake that a lot of people will end up doing is they will have one player to be dropped here. So for example, we're going to have Joe Adele be dropped here, but then we're not going to have a drop on our third claim group. So this is wrong because our first claim group is going to go through first. It's going to reward $20 for Kopech, but it's not going to drop Joe Adele because the roster is not full, even with him added. So he's still going to be on my roster. We're going to get him. It's going to come down here, and we're going to get Duvall because no players dropped. So now we're at our full roster after these two. And then it's going to look at this claim group and it's going to show, oh, no players to be dropped. And it cannot go process through because there's no player to be dropped. So after you want to kind of look at your claim groups and figure out which one's going to be your third one to go through if you're in RTFBC or high stakes because you have those two free waiver claims. After your roster is full, then you'll always want to have drops on all of your waiver claims, but this is kind of how you want to start for the first week or two when you're filling up your roster. If you have any questions about how to make waiver claims or how they'll process, feel free to email us at support@rtsports.com or give us a call at 636-447-1170. Thanks.